fragrant and so beautiful. And we're live. Hey, flower friends. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa. And welcome to the Gardener's Workshop live shopping show. Look at this, y'all. What do you think? Pretty dadgum amazing. There's 6 more of these here. And that's for all you folks out there that think us Southerners can't grow sweet peas. Y'all, it is pretty fragrant in here right now. So friends, welcome. And sister, I'm going to pass this off to you. Welcome to the Mother's Day week show, right? So in this show, we are going to be covering a lot of fun stuff, and we're introducing a new segment. So wait till you hear about that. So this week in the show, we're going to talk about which to choose. Should you plant your seeds directly out in the soil, out in the garden, or should you be starting them indoors? What are the pros and cons on both of those? I'll be doing a soil blocking demonstration and introducing that to you if you've never seen that before. And then guess what, friends? We have got flowers to share with you guys today. And as always, we have a prize drawing going on for one lucky in-app viewer today. And then as always, we'll also have a little Q&A at the end of the show. So if you have a question you'd like for me to try to answer, in the comments, just put @Lisa and then type whatever your question is, and the team will gather those up, and then they'll feed me a few of those for us to actually try to answer at the end of the show. So friends, before we get started, please consider hitting the share button down below. It's at the bottom of your screen. And we know that so many of y'all are using it because we have so many new people every single week that join us. And we thank you for that. So let folks know you're here live and invite them to come over and join the live gardening shopping show. We'd love to have them come. And then just a little bit of housekeeping. Please double check your email and phone number here inside the app, because like for instance, if you use the Apple Hide My Email or the Google shielded email to log into the app, then we don't get to see your real email. We can't send you a tracking ticket. And without that, our shipper won't ship, right? So please just double check those, and for actual typos. So remember that here inside the app, we have a couple of things that we offer different, and that is one, shipping is free on seed packet only orders. That means if you just order seed packets, the shipping is on us, and we love doing that for you guys. And then also there's a cap on the product shipping. It's $11.95, and it doesn't matter how many products you purchase, it's just $11.95. So that is really awesome. And remember that we ship to all 50 of the United States, and we do not offer international shipping. Now, if you have stumbled upon us on social media, we are so glad that you're here. But I also want you to know that we actually have a phone app, and there's a lot of reasons you want to get the app. First off, it's free. You just jump over to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop, download the Shop app. We have 2 apps, a Learn and a Shop. You want the Shop app. It takes about 30 seconds, and then come right back over here. We'll wait for you. But inside the app, you can do things like, first off, you can participate in the giveaway. I give away a $25 store credit most weeks. You can build a favorites list. You can watch replays. And most importantly, you can actually participate in the comments with the other live viewers, and there is always a great conversation going on. And if those comments get in the way of your view, you can actually swipe to the left or the right, and they'll go away, and you can do the same to get them to come back. So it depends on what's going on. So we typically sell out of stuff during the live show. So if you go to put something in your cart and it says out of stock, get notified. I would recommend you do that, because sometimes the team is actually bringing over more stock from our big website over here inside the app. Especially if it's something on special, you don't want to miss out on that. And friends, if you see people posting the sunflower emoji, which is part of our logo, those are people that are actually identifying themselves as the TGW, that's the Gardener's Workshop. That's the TGW family. And those are people that are online, our online students, as well as members of my Flower Farmer Club. And we absolutely love it when they claim us in public. That makes our hearts swoon, y'all. So we have, as we always do, I'm giving away a $25 store credit, friends. You know, this is one of the funnest things that I do in this show. I absolutely love it. You have to hit the button to get on the list to be pulled from. We pull it at the end of the show, and you have to be here to claim it. So hit the button now for the giveaway, and that will put you on the list. All right, friends, we always kick the show off with my books because they have all the how-tos that you need, right, to do all the things that we talk about. So this is my most recent book. It's the Cut Flower Handbook. Friends, this is really a beautiful book. It's hardback. It's got 240 pages. Look at the pictures. The images are just absolutely gorgeous. When somebody says, I really would love to grow a cutting garden, but I really don't know anything, this is the book that I can say, here's the book. This tells you everything. It is simple and easy to follow. The imaging is amazing. And when you purchase the book from us, you also get a bonus PDF download. And friends, since it's a Mother's Day, so this is the actual dedication, I guess we call it. It says, to the grandmas that shared their love of gardening, and then a little message to my grandma. Grandma, your peonies still bloom each spring. You'd love them. Thank you. And in fact, you're going to see some of those peonies in this show today. But this book really walks you through how a cutting garden works, what you need to do, and then all the steps to do it. And y'all, it is so simple and easy. How to prepare a bed on top of your soil if you have crummy soil. The Cut Flower Handbook is yours when you purchase it, and you get the PDF download, and I sign it for you. So this book, Vegetables Love Flowers, y'all, this is not a book about growing vegetables. This is a book about why vegetables love being in the presence of flowers. And it's all the creatures, all the things that they actually attract to your garden that also help vegetables. This book also includes amazing illustrations that walk you through succession planting. This book is really about my philosophy on how I garden without pesticides. It's about dropping a little cutting garden in the midst of your vegetable patch and how to maintain it and what to grow. And it helps you realize how easy it is to actually succession plant. And this book, actually, when you purchase it from us, comes with a free video book study, kind of a behind-the-scenes thing. And then, friends, we always have the book that started it all. This was my first book out, Cool Flowers. This is about how to grow cool season hardy annuals. And if you aren't familiar, and you're going to be all the flowers you're going to see today, except for the peonies and the Lenten roses, they're all cool season hardy annuals. And if you aren't able to grow those, it's just because you aren't planting them at the right time. And that's what this book helps you to figure out. This is step one to join in the amazing spring garden that you can have at your home. So this book also comes with a free video book study, and I sign all of my books. All right, so today I want to talk about direct sowing versus seed starting indoors with soil blocking. So I want to talk about the pros and the cons of each. I get lots of questions about it. So direct sowing means planting the seed out in the garden versus starting in pots or in soil blocks, right? So direct sowing pros, and we have a list up here, and I'm just going to run through the list. So direct sowing, some folks feel like it saves time and indoor space. So that's valid. It can be cost effective and minimal equipment, while you do need some other pieces of equipment like a hoe and a row cover maybe. It can save on that. And because you plant the seeds directly in the garden, you don't really go through that whole transplant shock. However, you have to get them to germinate out in the garden, right? And this can work really well for some plant varieties, but others, not so much at all. So while direct sowing can be a piece, and we do direct sow some seeds in the fall of cool flowers, I typically don't direct sow at all in spring and summer just because our weed pressure is so difficult. It just makes a lot of extra work. So direct sowing can work when you apply it to the right plants at the right time. Now, the drawbacks for direct sowing, we're calling them the cons. First off, you have really limited control over the outdoor conditions, right? And you're really dependent on the weather. And then you, of course, have wind and heavy rain. And there's also an increased risk of pests. And that's because your seedlings are sprouting out in the garden. They're so vulnerable at that stage. It is nothing for a cutworm or a slug or even beetles to just eat it to the ground with no trouble at all. And caterpillars, right? And then there's that competition with the weeds, y'all. Remember, when you're planting your flower seed, the weed seeds, and there's millions of them, y'all, in the soil, are also starting. So you really have to hold the weed seedlings from developing. You have to hold them at bay so your flower seeds can actually get ahead of those. And it's definitely possible, but it just creates a lot of work. And then there's a lot of flowers that just simply, or any plant that just simply won't grow that way. And so for those flowers, we really love starting our seeds indoors. And of course, the lion's share of the seeds that we start are in soil blocks. So why do I choose soil blocking, particularly over other containers? Because the roots, and I have the best example to show y'all. I've been holding this baby up all week long and shows. Look at this, y'all. This is a pepper plant. And it has been in this block for 2 weeks. I started in the small block, and then I bumped it up to this. What do you think a container-grown pepper that had been in a container for 2 weeks would look like now? The roots would have been wound around and around, and it's because these roots grow to the edge of the block and then really get what's called air pruned. They just kind of pause. Now, they'll definitely grow into the next one if you leave them long enough, but you just get amazing, healthy roots. And, you know, when you plant soil blocks that look like that, you basically suffer no transplant shock. The roots just hit the ground running. And soil blocking is also incredibly space savvy, eco-friendly. We use the same trays over and over again for years. We just add soil and seed each year, and we can make more seedlings, right? And I also find we get faster germination and faster seedling growth. Both of those are directly related to how much oxygen the blocks get because they are not enclosed in a container. Now, the drawbacks of starting seeds indoors, including soil blocking, is you have to have a little bit of equipment. So we use a seedling heat mat and a grow light. But I will tell you that you will get return on your investment over and over again by the amount of money you will save in starting your own seeds instead of buying plants at the store. And then they need daily attention. You've got to water every day, right? And then there's the learning curve. We counsel people all the time that are trying so hard, but there's just one piece in the system that's not working, and they either don't get germination or they die. It just takes practice, y'all. I wasn't a stellar seed starter in the beginning either, so I know the feeling. So we pretty much start almost everything indoors in soil blocks, and it's what gives us the absolute best results. Like, I wish I could take y'all out in my garden right now. All the beds with warm season annuals are about this tall. They've been planted for a couple of weeks. We got rain last night. And you just don't lose transplants once you plant them typically. So you get a really good show in your beds and make the use of every one. So I want to show you how I actually make soil blocks. So you can see this is one of those foam reusable trays. Y'all, you can see this has been used multiple times already. You just use them over and over. I use trays with no drainage holes, and they're flat on the bottom. So this is the small blocker, which is the one that I use most of the time, only when the seed is too big to go in this block. And let me show you how I actually make it. Now, I use a potato masher to mix the water with the soil, and I just make a little pile, and I push the blocker down into the mix.
And swipe left or right if the comments are in your way.
And then I also use the potato masher to just strike off the bottom to make it nice and flat. And here, you just place it on the tray. You give it a push and a pull, and y'all look at that. We just made 20 little containers. Now, I'm gonna sow some seeds in here. And thank you, sister. So the reason I use this little seed pan is there's no static electricity. And friends, if you're using a plastic container, you just don't know, getting my toothpick wet, y'all. You just don't know how much you're fighting a seed. When you put a little saliva on the end of the toothpick, can y'all see that? It literally just jumps right on. So actually I got two. So I'm gonna just place it. So these are celosia, so they get firmly seated on the surface, and I just can't even tell you how quick you can do this. When you're not fighting the seed to get it out, you're just firmly, you're making sure it has good contact, right? And it goes really quick. And when you don't have static electricity, it'll change your world, y'all. I remember when I learned about this trick. All right, so that's how we actually plant them. Now I want to show you some seedlings. So I just wanted to really give a demo here, or an example. This is celosia, which is what we just sowed, right? And these are about a week and a half away from being ready to go to the garden. So they're tall enough, but they just aren't hunky enough yet. But look what they're getting ready to grow into. This is also celosia. Look at the stems. This is what soil blocking does, y'all. I'm telling you. It's everything about it. So this is 20 plants on this little tray, sown in this tray, in these blocks. They grow up, and this is what we plant out in the garden. It is incredibly space savvy and grows a great seedling. All right, sorry, y'all, my nose. We know this happens every time. So, number one customer favorite product that we've sold since the beginning of business is the Soil Block Maker Kit. And in this kit, you get your choice of 3 packs of seeds, of either 3 packs of warm season seeds or 3 packs of cool season seeds. And you make that selection when you're checking out. But it also includes my course, Seed Starting Made Easy. This course is, you have lifetime unlimited access to it. Takes you from starting the seeds, growing them up, getting them out on the outside to be hardened off, getting them out in the garden and planting them. Goes through all of that. Plus, it actually also has a session on planting seeds directly out in the garden, as well as planting seeds in plug trays, sunflower seeds, and how I actually do that. So this kit includes a 6-quart bag of the ready-made blocking mix. This bag will make over 600 of the small blocks, right? So it also includes, of course, the small blocker, and it has 5 of these trays. Each tray holds 3 sets of 20. There's your little seed pan. There's our little toothpick dispenser, as well as these little wooden ID tags. I don't really use those for IDing. I use those for the tools if I need to mess around in my soil blocks instead of using my fingers. So you get all of this stuff in the kit, and it's about, I think, what is it, 10% off or something? You can buy all of this stuff separately, but there's a savings when you buy it all in the kit, y'all. And actually, I think it's more like 15%. So you'll absolutely have everything you need to, if you're already seed starting, this has everything you need to get started soil blocking with seed starting. So next up is, so I mentioned that, you know, I use the small blocker most of the time. Well, when I don't use the small blocker, I typically use the 2-inch blocker. And I use this when the seed is just simply too big to go into that small block. Think sunflowers, sweet peas. I do cuttings in this. And I also pot up, like you saw this pepper plant. See, for peppers, tomatoes, eggplant, and eucalyptus, those are plants that I like to be more mature when I plant them. And so this is my sweet, these are actually jalapenos, I think, that are going out to the garden. So this is the 2-inch blocker that I actually make that with. Now the blocker comes with these nipples to make a little indentation in the top of the block to receive a large seed like a zucchini or a sunflower or a sweet pea. Now you can pop these out literally and pop these inserts in, and that makes the perfect hole that I dropped the 3/4 inch block into to pot up those peppers. And so this is the large block maker, and it includes the inserts. And you know, I don't use this nearly as often, but when I need it, you definitely need it. So when you add this to the soil block maker kit, then you're set up to start any and everything that you'll be faced with. All right, so you saw in the kit that we have that ready-made mix, which is available separately here in the app. But we have a lot of folks that want to make their own soil blocking mix at home. It's more economical, and it's just convenient to be able to make yours anytime. So we have made your make your own soil blocking mix set. So this has everything you need in it to make your own blocking mix at home. So it comes with one of our cocoa fiber bricks. You drop this in water. See, this is what it looks like. This is how it comes. You drop it into water and let it soak. I mean, it takes like 30 minutes to puff up, and then it makes the appropriate amount of cocoa fiber. And it also includes a bag of compost that goes in your recipe. And it also includes the nutrient mix, which has the recipe, by the way, right on the front. And this is a mixture. This is powder, and it's half and half green sand and rock phosphate powder. And you mix those together and you make your blocking mix. But here's the best part of the kit. This is the 3/4 inch sifter. We recommend sifting all seed starting mix and all the ingredients for seed starting mix when you're soil blocking. You just don't need big chunks in it. And this fits perfectly on top of a 5-gallon bucket. So it makes the job super easy. So you get all of this, and I believe it's like 5% off when you purchase them all together. And you can get everything except the cocoa brick. Everything's available separately here in the app. The cocoa bricks, you can head over to thegardenersworkshop.com and get some of those. So one of the things that really changed my world and allowed me to become a mass seed starter was that I tweaked soil blocking into a tabletop method. And I did that by the trays that I was using. So I used flat bottom trays with no drainage holes. What that meant is when I water does not run out or leak out, right? So that meant I could do it anywhere in my house. And so we love using these foam reusable trays. So this tray is the mini, which is 5 1/4 inches. It comes in a 5 and they all come in a 5 and a 25 pack, okay? This will hold one set of 20. This is what, these are like some different peppers that I'm starting. All I need is 20. So this is the perfect size blocker tray. And then this one holds 2 sets of 20, or this would hold 2 sets of 4 of the bigger 2-inch block. And again, it comes in a 5 and a 25 pack. And this is the size that comes in the kit. And it will hold 3 sets of 20. So this is, you know, when you're starting your zinnias or those things that you really want a lot of plants of, that's when you would use this. We wash them up and reuse them over and over, year after year. And the way that we mark our trays around here, believe it or not, y'all, is masking tape. I mean, you can see that's what's on all of them. You can see it right there on the end of there. The masking tape, we use them on plug trays, cafeteria trays, our foam trays, and we write on it with our garden marker. This is an outdoor marker that resists UV rays and moisture, and literally it will not just disappear, which is what happens when you use indoor markers in the outdoor space. It just all of a sudden one day you walk up and it's like you never wrote anything there. So we absolutely love the waterproof garden marker pen. This is one of those things you can never have enough of them, and then you'll guard them with your life. We absolutely love them. And it also writes on wood. This is one of our wooden stakes, and this is the Royal Mix Sweet Peas, which is some of those that are right behind me. This is after being out in the garden for over 15 months, and you can still read it. It truly holds up outside in the garden in moisture. And there's nothing more disappointing than losing what you wrote, y'all. I mean, for me, it's like I'm so if I remember to write it, I want it to be there on the day that I actually need it. So another piece of this whole seed starting process is getting the soil warm enough to actually sprout the seeds, for those seeds to know that they need to break dormancy and wake up and sprout. And how do you do that? You do that by placing your trays on a seedling heat mat, okay? If your home is 70 degrees air temperature, you have to know that that means if you have a tray just sitting in your house, no matter what kind of tray, that soil mass is typically 15 to 20 degrees cooler than your air temperature. So that means if you're 70, that means your soil is like 55. Most seeds sprout best between 75 and 85 degrees, y'all. Explains why so many people have puny or no germination. The seedling heat mat actually has a built-in thermostat, and the thermostat actually works off of the air temperature. So this heats up to 15 to 20 degrees warmer than your air temperature. So it works out perfectly. It just speeds up your germination, get more germination, and it's more uniform. And it's just one hop in the process, y'all. And it'll just change your life. You want to do this? So my sister's going to come over here and tell you about some of her favorite things.
This is our favorite watering can. This beautiful little can is stainless steel. It holds about a cup. And we love this to water our seedlings because it has a gentle flow of water. So when you're watering it, it doesn't destroy your little blocks. So you gently water these from the side with this. The other thing it's great for is if you use it to water your house plants, and then you can just put it on the shelf next to your plants, and it's beautiful. But what we really think that it's the most untalked about is watering your flower arrangements. If you have a big, beautiful flower arrangement, you don't want to carry it to the sink to refill the water. So this spout will fit through that arrangement so that you can fill up the water, because we know garden flowers drink a lot more water than those that are bought out on the retail market. So this is just our favorite watering can. It's beautiful, perfect gift for anybody that likes to do house plants or who does flower arranging.
It holds 4 cups.
One quart, 4 cups,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have our fungus gnat fighting kit. So this, part of the kit are these little sticky cards help you monitor to see what you have going on. It's going to catch any adults, and you can see that we had a big problem years ago when this one caught all of these gnats. So these are the little sensor cards that come with it. And then we have the bits. These are the mosquito bits. They're actually on the instructions. It tells you what to do for fungus gnats. And you just use a tablespoon of this?
4 tablespoons to a gallon.
4 tablespoons to a gallon of water. You just let it sit overnight. You strain out the bits however you want, and then you just water your seedlings or your plants, your indoor plants, and it kills the larvae. And then the sticky traps will take care of all of the adults. So this is, if you've had a gnat, you know what I'm talking about. It is just makes you crazy. So these come with both the traps for the adults and the bits. All right, sister.
All right, so one of the things that we often get asked about is how do we grow such beautiful seedlings? Besides doing all the things we've already talked about, this is another piece of it. This is the liquid fertilizer that I put in my watering can every Monday. I follow directions, which is 1 tablespoon to a gallon, so the bottle really goes a long way. And that way they get a dose of the seaweed fish, and it just really helps to grow healthy, gorgeous plants. And I actually use it out in the garden as well as a soil drench. You pour it on the soil, or you can put it in a watering can and sprinkle it on the foliage. That's called foliar feeding. But this does have an odor, so you would never do that when your flowers are close to budding, because you don't want to have stinky stems, right? But that really makes a big difference. And then another thing that I do on Fridays sometimes now is add a compost tea bag. That's what these are. These are the compost tea bags. I drop this into my watering can on Thursday after I finish my chore in the morning. I fill my can up, which is a gallon, and drop this baby in and let it steep overnight. And then when I water the next morning, I'm just adding a lot of organic, healthy biology back to the soil, right? So this bag includes 12 of the tea bags, and it's 1 tea bag per gallon of water. And you can actually do more stuff with it. You can aerate and have it steep longer. And all the instructions are right on the package. But I am loving this. And you can just rip the tea bag open and put it in your containers.
I just put this in a gallon milk container that I've washed really good and shake it up and let it sit overnight. This has no smell. It is not stinky.
Oh, good.
This is stinky.
She's the super sniffer, y'all. All right, so this is the dry organic fertilizer that we get asked so much. How do I prepare? This is what we add to our beds when we're preparing our beds. It's a chicken litter-based OMRI certified. That means it's organic certified. And this is a 4-pound bag, and it takes 3 pounds for 100 square feet. That's like a 10 by 10 spot. You can get a bigger bag of this over on our website. But this type of fertilizer, organic fertilizer, the way it works, y'all, is not what we think. It actually builds the biology and feeds it that's in your soil so that your soil takes better care of your plants. It delivers more moisture. It just makes your soil healthier with each application versus with synthetics. That's not, in fact, what happens. So you can get this 4-pound bag. And again, over on our website, you can find a larger bag if you want, and we just absolutely love it. So, you know, we are we just made more beds. Last Saturday, Steve and I did it. And one of the things that really has cut our labor significantly here in our garden is that I use biodegradable film. This looks like plastic and it works like plastic. However, it is a corn byproduct and it is totally compostable. You can mulch on top of it if you don't like the way it looks, but it blocks 100% of the light from getting to annual weed seeds, and that prevents them from actually sprouting. So it comes with a dark side and a light side. When we're making winter and early spring beds and late fall, we make them with the black side up so that the soil can warm a little bit, which is really beneficial, right, in the cold weather. But this time of the year, the beds we made last week are now the light side up. Super easy to plant through. Literally, you can just pop your finger right through it. It's not like landscape cloth at all. You can turn it into the soil or you can mulch it on top and let it just break down, right? So it's available in 20, 50, and 100-foot pieces. A 20 comes in a 1-pack. A 50 comes in a 1 or a 6-pack. And then a 100-footer comes in a 1-pack or a 3-pack. And I will tell you, this has been the biggest labor saver on my farm. There's a learning curve, learning how to put it down. There's videos on the product that you can actually watch. And I think if you hit the QR code on your package, it takes you right there when you get it. All right, so what are we doing a lot of? I'm getting ready to do this next week. We're starting to install flower support netting. This is what keeps our flowers upright and straight in torrential downpours of rain. That's what just lays your flowers down. Each square is 6 inches. We just suspend it above the flowers. It's super easy to install. And this also comes, it's 36 inches wide. It's easy to cut with scissors. And it comes in a 20-footer and a 50-footer. But if you need even longer, 328 feet or 3,280, you'll find those over on our website. This stuff makes the difference as to whether you actually have flowers to cut because they are all straight instead of being down in the mud. And this is my new favorite product, y'all. Love this stuff. This is insect netting. It's different than row cover. Not only does it allow more heat to pass through it so it doesn't trap as much heat, but it's stretchy, and we love using it. I use it for a lot of different stuff now. So it's intended to be used on hoops, and you use it just like a row cover. You cover the whole thing, and that prevents flying bugs, mostly moths, from getting to your plants, laying eggs, which are the little larvae, the little caterpillars that chew holes in everything. It blocks that access. I also install it as a sun cap, which you'll have to check out the video on the product for that. It is lightweight, stretchy, reusable. We have drug it back out this year for the 3rd time, and you secure it with either weight bags or clips, and it's 6.5 feet wide, just like row cover, and it's available in 20, 50 and 100-foot pieces. And I've just learned to use this. You know what I'm using it for this year? I have a little demonstration cutting garden, which is in rabbit country here on my farm where it's actually located. I'm using the insect netting. Once I put my flower support netting up, I'm going to run insect netting like a little fence around the bottom half of the garden to keep the rabbits from coming in. And I feel like the white, lets air pass through it, but also the white reflects. So I'll keep y'all posted on that, but I'm super excited about doing that. And now, my friends, we have the deal of the day. And it is our favorite tool. How about it, sister? We love these Japanese grass weeders. They come in a left hand and a right hand model. And we use them for everything. For weeding, for thinning, for grading, for pulling a little line in the garden to direct sow seeds in. And it is 20% off for the deal of the day. And the deal of the day is available through Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern or until supplies sell out here inside the app. And so no code needed. It's priced as marked. It's regularly $28.95, and it's now on sale for $23.16. And you're saving $5.79. And anybody that has a yard will find use for this. And let me just tell you quickly how to use it. Blade flat on the ground. This is your soil, and you pull it through the soil about a 1/2 inch below ground level, and that extinguishes developing weed seeds. You don't do this. Scraping like this just piles up soil. You just simply turn it up more upright and pull it through, and friends, it is absolutely amazing.
Don't use it for direct sowing too?
Yeah, I pull a trough. Yes, I make the troughs for seeds. You talk about this one, sister. It's your favorite. This is my sister's favorite tool.
I just find myself grabbing this if I'm going to the garden to plant or to do anything just about, because it extends my arm. I can be on the edge of my flower bed. My flower bed's pretty wide, and I can still reach the back. So this is our trach, and it has the cultivator on this end. You can use this. I use it a lot to mulch or to spread mulch and pine straw. It has a solid cast aluminum with vinyl grip, and it's narrow, so it fits great into tight spaces. And of course, this end has the trowel, and it has the inch marks on here in case you're planting bulbs or something that you need to know how deep you're going. So the trach, everybody who has a yard needs to have this. I just find it invaluable, and we just love this.
It's like a multi-generational tool,
It
right?
is.
Grandmas buy it for daughters and
Yep,
granddaughters.
exactly. Next up, we have our hand rake. Again,
Best back scratcher.
come over here. It extends your arm in the garden as well. And this is really great for getting up leaves. Of course, we love our leaves, but sometimes they're in a place you don't want them. For getting up your leaves or your mulch, it's just a great tool. And again, extends your arm so you don't have to bend as far.
And that's the nicest rake I have ever seen.
It has long tines, narrow width.
Coated.
Yeah, and you can go around bushes and shrubs and perennials. It's 19.5 inches long and 4 inches wide. So we enjoy this as well. My best friend, the Cushy Kneeler. Now, I've seen a lot of kneelers out there. None of them are this wide and this cushy. I'm having knee trouble, so it's always good to have this around if you're down on your knees. And of course, when we're in the garden, you're always on your knees doing something. So this is actually 15 by 20 inches, 2 inches thick, lightweight. It's only about 20 ounces, and it has this handy handle that lets you carry it around the garden, and it's made in the USA. So anybody that's down on the floor working for any reason,
Motorcycles.
or in the garden, needs to have one of these. So get one for you and for all of your old friends. Next up, we have our plant markers. So this is our, comes in a pack. This is our, what do you call this one? Stationary plant marker. We have a hanging one too. And it's beautiful. It comes in a 25 pack. It improves with age. It gets that patina that we all love on the copper. And you just use a ballpoint pen. We usually put a towel or something behind it and then write on it with a ballpoint pen, and it actually engraves it. So it will be there forever. It's permanent. It's 10 inches tall. The label area is 2 5/8 by 7/8 high. And again, we love these. and it's going to make sure you know what you're planting. These are great for perennials, trees, shrubs, and anything you plan to have long term. It really is an investment in beautifying your garden.
Now, if you have people that work in your flower beds, like husbands, that remove these, run them over with the mower, this one is perfect.
Okay, so this is our hanging copper tag, and it is the same exact way. You write on it with a ballpoint pen and it permanently engraves it. Then you can loosely, I say loosely, you want to give the tree or shrub room to grow, so you want to loosely attach it around the branch that you don't plan to. Lisa was planning to limb up one of her trees. She's like, no, don't put it there, put it on a higher branch. So be sure to put it on a permanent branch, and as your tree grows, this will patina and become beautiful, and you'll always know what it is. And Lisa likes to put the date on it. So if you plant a tree this year, put the date on it. So in 10, 20 years, when you're gone, in 100 years, somebody might come across this tag and know when it was planted. So we love our copper tags.
So friends, it's time to remind you that if you want to be included in the giveaway, love giving away $25 store credit, y'all. You have to get on there. Kelly has brought it up. Hit that button, and that will put you on the list. And in case you joined late, I'll be doing a little Q&A at the end, and you can just put in the comments, put @Lisa, and then type whatever your question is about a product or gardening or whatever you have a question about. And guess what, friends? We are so excited. We have a new segment today, and it is called the Bouquet Studio. Is this not going to be so much fun? We're going to be doing easy seasonal bouquets and arrangements and styles, things that you can make from the garden flowers that you're bringing in, and even stealing from your landscape sometime. So Suzanne is going to roll in here, and y'all, we are going to have ourselves a little bouquet demonstrations. Here she comes.
Howdy, folks. So we're going to do a little bouquet making today, and I've never actually done this on a show before, so this should be fun. So what I usually do, you can see I have lots of beautiful flowers today. We have some peonies and some Lenten rose that came from the garden, and I usually start out, Lenten roses are just a great base for a bouquet. Anything that has the wide open look. So I'll start with some of those, and we're going to just add in some amobium. And Lisa, take this whole bucket out and lay it down for me.
This one?
Yep.
So this, I think that's a great tip, sister.
Yeah, I like to lay it.
So just to take all the flowers out and lay them down, and then while you're working, right, sister, you wouldn't do this an hour before.
Yep, you just do it as you're working. Now we have a lot of sweet peas, as you can see, so I always like to put a sweet pea stem in there, and this one is a little shorter. I think I may actually wait and add him at the very end after I cut the bouquet, so we'll set him right there and I'll remember him. But there's some just beautiful amobium, and I just constantly am turning the bouquet in my hand to try to get the same kind of colors or same kind of thing going on all sides. And the other thing I do is that I try to keep, what do you call it, the canopy. I kind of, in my mind, have a canopy, and there's some things that I like to have above the canopy and some things go below the canopy. When you have things like this that are beautiful and stick up, I put them a little bit above the canopy. When you have a peony, it's going to go right at the canopy so that you can see it beautifully. And that way, it gives you a little more tailored look of a bouquet, where I've seen a lot of beautiful bouquets where it's big and branchy and hanging over, and that's gorgeous, but that's not always what you want. So we're just going to keep adding more flowers around the edges.
Sister, tell them your rule about colors.
Oh, there is no rule. All flowers look good together, so just do it. Put them together. If you have a theme, that's great. If not, just keep adding them. And if you see a spot in the middle that, looks like it needs a little something, sure, I'll stick one down inside sometimes. But usually I just add them from the edge if I can keep up. And let's put a beautiful peony down in the middle. We'll stick that through. Peonies just make everything beautiful and bright. What else do we have, sister? We already used all the amobium. I'll put a few sweet peas in here. Here's some lace flower. Constantly turning.
Comments are going crazy. They love it.
Oh, good. Putting a few on the edge.
Doesn't she make it look so easy, y'all? And it can be when you just follow that kind of plateau idea that she talks about.
Let me tell you, the easiest thing is when you're at a flower farm and there's lots of flowers. If you want to have fun making bouquets, you have to plant flowers, because if you went out and bought flowers, you would never be able to put something together this big. It's just much more fun when they're coming out of your own garden. So let's put some more white lace. Oh, look, here's some purple. Let's put some purple in here.
Kim says, "Oh, I put it in a vase and build. Great tip to hold it in my hand."
I'm telling you. Oh my gosh.
We live off of hand bouquets.
So remember, sister, one time we were at the farmer's market and somebody wanted a $60 bouquet. That's a lot of flowers. And I had to help her hold it because it was too many flowers. So we find this is the way, y'all.
And then the next person that came in said, "Will you make me one of those?"
We started a trend.
And the most, if you're a flower farmer and you're doing farmers markets, we used to do a bucket, like a bucket bouquet, where people could pick single stems, and we had some already made. But when you are making one during the market, everybody wants that one. They want you to do that for them. It's the experience. And looking back now, we should have charged extra for making it custom, so more or less. All right, so we've got some beautiful sweet peas on the outside. So what do you all think? I didn't really look at the top very much. That's a lot of pink together, isn't it? I'm just going to spread them out. I'm going to spread them out a little bit, stick something in the middle, and I just always look at the top. We don't make mass bouquets like this. We only do this for like custom bouquets. And then I'm going to shove all of these in this little container. Now, cutting it is another thing. There are rules about how tall the container's supposed to be, how high the flowers are. Do you know how I cut them? However tall I want them, and that's what you should do. Is the compost bin? Yeah. So I just wanted to look pretty. I always cut them too long. I have to pull them back out. I have to recut them. And yes, you can stick more flowers in after you've cut them, but to get the base, it's
She's still shooting them all over the floor, y'all, and I'm holding a huge compost bin.
And she's the worst, by the way. All right, so let's see how this is going to work as far as size. And then I would probably put a few. I'm looking through
trindles.
I'm looking through the camera here. I'm going to turn it so I can see. And the other thing is, are you going to see this arrangement from all angles? If you're going to see it from all angles, then you have to keep turning around and make sure that every side is going to be beautiful. So you just want to fill in anything as you go. And of course, you can't go wrong adding more peonies. So this is our tallish bouquet. And of course, we used our garden peonies and some Lenten roses. Lenten roses make the best base for a bouquet ever. But how beautiful is that? So this is a lot of fun, guys. All right, next we're going to do our shorty. And it's funny, when you're working at the farmer's market all day, when you get to we're constantly, and this is another tip for you farmers, we are constantly rearranging the flowers. We never want a bucket to be empty looking. We don't
picked over.
We don't want somebody to think that it's been picked over and they're not getting the best that we have. So we're constantly corralling the flowers, putting them together. And the most beautiful bouquets I've ever made are what I call the bottom of the bucket bouquets. And it's all these shorties that get left. Nobody wants to pick the little short flower. It's all these little shorties that get left, and you put them together. A lot of times they're these jewel tones like you see in this Sweet William, and blues. I mean, they're just beautiful.
And sister, we love short containers like this. We actually brought the gravy boat back to life. You know, grandma's had those short containers, and you're going to see how she puts it in. That if you're sitting at a dining room table across from me, we're going to be able to see each other and talk with a beautiful canopy of a bouquet, short and at a level that it makes, you would never put that tall thing she just did.
And you see how he talked about the canopy, and look how beautiful these are sticking above the canopy.
Tweety, y'all.
The rule I usually use is, I'm not sure what that was, I just pulled out, is a few spikes, 3, 5, 9, odd number of spikes sticking up in the bouquet if possible. And when you get over like 7, you can't really tell if it's an odd number, so you just add. But there's certain things that just look prettier going over the edge, like the white lace flowers look pretty sticking up.
So we make bouquets. We are not we don't consider ourselves flower arrangers. We don't have technique. We don't know about that kind of stuff. This is what we use, the average everyday person would do, right?
Got some Love in the Mist. Can't go wrong with the blue.
Yeah, who doesn't love a blue flower?
Oh, here's some more Tweedia. Good, 3. Now, even though they're not short, I think I'm going to stick a couple of peonies in here. Because what I said, you can't go wrong with a peony, right? And the important thing about doing an arrangement is you have to think about who's going to see the flowers. How are you going to see the flowers? If this isn't a tall arrangement sitting up on a table, you can only see these bottom edges of the flowers. Much more beautiful to see the tops of the flowers. I'm just going to look down here. I need a little bit more white on this side, so I'm going to add some more white to kind of make it all
Won't that be
blend
pretty
in.
around the edges once you put it in?
Yeah. So we got some white. So I'm going to cut this short. It's perfect for a table, so you can see who you're actually eating with or talking with at a table. And you can enjoy the tops of the flowers. So let's give this a cut. I'm going to cut this one again short.
Not short enough.
Never short enough. Let's see. That looks like it will be. Maybe.
No, that worked.
So here, let me set it up here. Can you see it a little better? And then I didn't even use any of this calendula, sister. Is this baby's breath?
That is annual baby's breath. Those are the shorty leftovers. Look at that, y'all.
Annual baby's breath. Just look what it adds to it just around the edge. I'm having to do this through the camera, so you can almost see. But they're just beautiful. And this is just a great way to take your garden flowers and make a quick bouquet. A little shorty.
That is really pretty. My side's prettier than y'all's.
And if it's a little misshapen or whatever, I think it's beautiful. I enjoy that. If you're a little more particular and you think that this should be cut, or if you think that this should be stuffed in, then do it. Practice and do it often, and you'll have fun and you'll be successful, because if you like it, that's what matters. And everybody's gonna love it, trust me.
All right, so let's just leave the bouquet up there, because I'll show that closer when we get. So let's identify some of these flowers that she's actually been using here. So let's start with the beginning. Sister, you want to bring me Hyacinth? So I want to just say, for any Southerners out there, you can grow sweet peas. We grow them like darn weeds around here. This is the Hyacinth sweet pea. Hyacinth meaning it is the most fragrant sweet pea. It is white with a little blush of purple. Can you see that? It just has a little purple around the edges. These were all fall planted here for us. And these were cut with the vine. I mean, there's still vines out in the garden, but we harvested them so we would have stems to use in bouquets. So Hyacinth is my favorite. The TV just went off.
Yeah. My stuff is flashing around. Won't Hyacinth though, so keep on going.
Yeah, okay. All right, so this is Royal Mix, and this is a mix of white, red, lavender. There's some shrimp in here that hasn't started actually blooming yet. Y'all, you do not need many sweet peas. A 5-foot single row on a trellis that gets cut constantly you will have more sweet peas than you know what to do with. All right, what's next? All right, so wait a minute, we had a little tech flip here. So, apricot status. So these are all cool flowers. Look at this status, y'all. Look at these colors. This is a mix. Absolutely love this. We fall and very early spring planted. It's a fabulous fresh flower, and it dries so very, very pretty. Then we also have Status. Status is a great bouquet flower, y'all. This is rose. Look at that. That's kind of a hot pinky color. This is a little bit faded. These got rained on a couple of times. But this is just a really great color. And then how about this? This is the blue. This pops up every bouquet you put it in. And the thing about Status, you can never have enough. because if you have it left over, then you dry it, right? Really, really love it. And again, these are all cool flowers that you'll learn about how and when you plant them from my book, the Cut Flower Handbook. So this is the white lace flower that Suzanne had in the bouquets. This is Orlea. We direct sow this in the fall. Yep, see, she's showing it there. And this is a heavy reseeder once it gets established. So if you put it somewhere where you can benefit from that, you don't ever have to plant it again. And this is my favorite, newest cool flower. Y'all, this is Amobium. This looks like feverfew mated with straw flowers. It's dry. Can y'all hear that? It's dry bloom when it's fresh. This is a great bouquet filler. Absolutely love it. It is super tall in the garden. Really, really tall. And then look at this. This is Love in a Mist. This is the Miss Jekyll Indigo. We have it in several mixes. They're all available. This is another one that we direct sow in the fall here in my garden. And then look at these little guys. This is, wait a minute, let me get these out. So this is the Pacific Beauties mix, and then that's Princess. Look at this. We call these the zinnias of the spring. And this is a great pollinator plant. Absolutely love it. It's pot marigold, better known as calendula. Absolutely love it. And then this is also calendula, but it's Ivory Princess. And I've been trying to get that little leaf off of there. There you go. Look how pretty they are, y'all. Really sweet. And they're edible flowers too, I understand. And then, my friends, what would some... Oh, there we go. Here's all these little shorty side shoots. This is annual baby's breath. Totally different than the perennial that everybody grows that we're so used to. This is, look at the little open flowers. Super sweet. And this was fall planted also.
Cherry.
And then here, this is Cherry Sweet William. This is the Amazon series. It has those great jewel colors, and this is the cherry. And then back here is the purple. You all may or may not be able to see just how deep and rich these colors are. The Amazon series is definitely my favorite, easiest to grow, Sweet William. Really love that. And then we have, this is, I can never say the name, so we call it Beau. This is Beau, I can't say it, y'all. And it's a mix of bicolors. Look how pretty that is.
Bud Stoles?
Anyway, I'm not even gonna murder it. So we call it Beau. But what's different about this is it's a mix of different bicolors. It's an early bloomer, which means it's not gonna be the tallest Sweet William that you grow, but it's really, really nice. And then look at this, Suzanne used some of this in the bouquet too. This is Black Cherry. This can really set your bouquet off. Love it. And this is the Sweet series. Then we have Coral, which they're just starting. That's how I like to cut them, y'all. When about a third of the blooms are open, that's how they last longer in a bouquet for your customers or for you. Really love that. And then it also comes in white. No one has ever had enough white flowers. Oh, yep, there's another one she used. How pretty is that? And then we have, the Tweedia. Did y'all catch the Tweedia when where'd it go, sister? Here it is. This is Tweedia, y'all, that blue flower. So beautiful. And that actually grew. I have a container cutting garden that was planted last fall out here on my patio. This was one of them, and we have it planted in the garden. This is, blue in the spring. It is pretty dadgum amazing. And then we have one of the colors of the Madam Butterfly Snapdragons. I don't know if y'all can tell, there's a little ruffle bloom in the middle of this. This is just one of our favorites. These were grown in a container also. Really love them. Snaps are just so highly valued in the spring. So friends, that's gonna be a wrap for today. What did you think of the Bouquet Studio? What a great segment. We're gonna be having that every week, so y'all look forward to that and tell your friends that we just can't wait for you to see what we create. And we're gonna have sister battles. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this. Which team are you going to be on? Team Lisa or Team Suzanne? You better start thinking about that now, people. All right, so time to wrap up. Remember to stick around to the very end for the live Q&A. And I just want to remind everybody that over on our big website platform, we have tons of resources. We have videos and blogs and podcasts. We have both Field and Garden, which I host. And then, of course, we have Seed Talk with Lisa and Lane, and that is a really popular podcast. And then, remember, friends, this Wednesday on Ask a Flower Farmer, which the Gardener's Workshop hosts at, we have a guest host this week. It is Ellen Frost of Local Color Flowers. She's a florist that only uses local flowers, and I am sure she is going to be full of stories after Mother's Day. I mean, she may have to sit down. I mean, so that really, I didn't even think about that. That's going to be fun. She's going to have some stories. So that's on Wednesday on Instagram at 12:30. You can just go to Instagram to our account, and she'll be on there. And then remember to meet us back here next Friday. I'll be talking about marigolds. We love marigolds here, y'all. I mean, they're tall, they're giant, they're beautiful. And ours are planted in the garden and coming along. Can't wait to tell you about that. And oh my gosh, I can't believe who the winner is. I know you. I am so happy for you. Can you guess who you are? So who is the winner of the $25 store giveaway credit? It is Joe Antcliffe. Joe has been one of our friends here on the farm for a long time. Joe, if you are here, give us a big old shout out, and the girls will drop a $25 store credit into your account. And so that's super sweet. She used to come here to the farm to workshops that I would do. That was a long time ago. So congratulations, and stick around for the Q&A, or if you're heading out, thank you for joining us, and hope to see you again next week. All right, so we have lots of questions, and y'all, my nose from handling all that stuff. Should the cocoa core be sifted before or after hydrating? Good question. After hydrating it. Oh, Joe is here. Congratulations, Joe. Girls are literally dropping a $25 credit into your cart as we speak. I hear them clicking over there. So you would sift the cocoa fiber after you've hydrated it, and that means you need to let it dry out some so you can actually sift it. But what a great question. Any suggestions for harvesting sweet peas? Well, since we have buckets of them here, probably so. So there's two different ways you can harvest them. You can either harvest them, sister, come over here with a clipper. Oh wait, I got a clipper right here. So there's two different ways to harvest sweet peas. You can just, let me just cut a few. You can just cut it by the stem, right? I mean, and we would make little sweetie bouquets. And that's the way, I mean, cutting all of the stems every other day, y'all, you just won't believe how many more will grow in their place, right? So this is one choice. The other way is to cut a whole vine. Literally, we go down about 24 or 30 inches and cut it, strip the bottom few inches, and just leave all the trindles and the blooms on there, and that allows us to actually use them in bouquets. And then we like to cut sweet peas when the blooms are actually open, because sweet peas will not open anymore after you cut them. So what I tell the harvesters, which is usually Bobo, cut everything that shows colors in sweet peas, because they are so regrow so quickly that you won't even worry about it. Did you want to ask me something?
No, I just wanted to let you know that I'm busy hearting all the people that said they're going to be on Team Suzanne. And my favorite is that somebody's going to be on Team Mason.
Well, there you go. Do y'all know that I've been dealing with this my entire life? Entire life. She was dancing on the coffee table when she was 4.
And I stopped that when I was 5.
And she stopped when she was 5. Anyway, so you cut the whole stem. We do put it in the regular flower conditioning products, but no matter what you do, sweet peas don't last but about 3 to 6 days, depending on the stage you got them and how you treat them. But it's the best 3 to 6 days of your gardening life. That's why we grow so many dadgum sweet peas. All right, you seed block inside even for things like peas that they say to start outside. Now, so if you're talking about bush peas, we start almost everything indoors, even things that say that they should be planted out in the garden, because it's just easier, less labor, right? But there are a few things that we really can't do that with, and it's not because of the root disturbing the roots like some people think. It's more about those seeds that really need a variation in temperature to actually break dormancy, because the thing about soil blocking is you kind of eliminate all of that soil, that root disturbing the root problem by the way we do it. We actually even sprout carrots and radishes in the small block, and we plant that block within a few days. It's just easier to take care of them than trying to get seeds to germinate. I mean, here where we are in the South, the weed pressure is unbelievable, and it's hot and dry, and we just never water enough. So yes, to answer your question, we soil block most everything, even those things recommended for direct sowing out in the garden if they do well. Do you wash the foam trays that we start soil blocks on between new sets of soil blocks? I am sad to say that we don't wash. We do actually wash some. So Bobo rinses them and washes them. We do have a sink because we wash buckets here, but not all the trays get washed. I mean, we just don't have disease issues, right? I mean, if I was having some kind of disease problem, I'd rethink that, but we just don't. But most often they get rinsed to get the dirt residue off so they're easy to use the next time, but we don't wash them, scrub them. What's the best cover crop to use now in Texas Zone 8? Oh my gosh, wish y'all could see my garden right now. We planted buckwheat, which is a warm season, tender annual cover crop. It's about this tall. We planted it Saturday, and then it's rained twice since Saturday, and it's hot now. It goes from seed to bloom in about 30 days, so you can extinguish it and plant it again. Why? Because you're gaining organic matter each and every time you turn it under. So buckwheat is the recommended warm season because it's easy to take down. It's not a real aggressive grower, so we love it. Do you use Neptune's Harvest on veggies too? Yes. Can it help tomato seedlings that are more purple than green? Purple is struggling. Most often when you plant a purple plant out in the garden, I can't remember if that's a deficiency or an overdose of phosphorus or potassium. One or the other. Usually that self-regulates when you plant it out in the garden, but we're planting into well-prepared soil with general purpose fertilizer, which you saw here on the show today, and then you can do a liquid soil drench. What that means is you just mix it up according to directions and you pour it on the soil and it soaks in, right? But yes, that should fix that or help with that also. Are the tines on that hand rake strong enough to rake back small landscape rocks? It is.
I'm thinking the trach would be good for that.
So these are pretty firm. I don't know.
Sure.
These are more heavy duty, but I don't know if that's too big of a space. But this is the most heavy. We have sold other hand rakes in the past. They were always popular. They're so, especially if you're getting old, y'all. We love it. This is a super heavy duty one, so I guess it would depend on what size gravel and how much of it there is. Does yellow status get the white dots in the center also? We don't have any yellow in here, I don't think. And you know what that comes from? It's by how long you leave it in the garden. That's maturity.
Ours are not. Those dry ones do not.
She said the dry ones over there don't seem to have that in there, but also you can harvest it a little bit earlier before they develop that far along. How long do you keep seedlings on the heat mat, and do you put them under the grow lights at the same time? Sorry, my nose is just, my eyes are making me crazy too. Sorry. Okay. We sow the seeds into soil blocks or plug trays or whatever you're sowing into, and then they go to the seedling heat mat. You take them off of the seedling heat mat to move them over to a grow light when you see that 50% of the seeds you sown have shown signs of life. That can just be cracking, that can be a little sprout. And once 40 to 50% of them, you look and you see action happening on 40 or 50% of the tray, you take it off the heat mat and move it over to the grow light. If you put it on the heat mat and the grow light at the same time, They typically get overheated. It just gets way too hot, and it's not necessary. So hopefully that will answer that. And is it too late to grow yarrow in zone 8? So it really totally depends on the variety you're talking about. There are a hardy annual varieties and there are perennial varieties. Both of them are, did she say what zone she was in? They're both, you're in zone 8. You should wait till the fall, whether you're planting perennials or hard. The ones that are in my books are the hardy annual ones, and they just have a great selection of colors. So it's not really worth now. Find another flower. You know, that's what I tell people. If you're so focused on one flower and you're thinking about planting it in the wrong timing, just hold on to it till it's the right time and find another flower to plant. So friends, I'm sorry, y'all, my nose is about to make me crazy. Thanks so much for joining me, and thanks for the great questions. Congratulations, Joe. And so friends, I hope to see you on Wednesday for Ask a Flower Farmer at, we got to look at this one too. So, did we do Amobium?
Yeah.
We did. So, everything that we talked about is in this bouquet except for the peonies, which of course just came from my landscape, right? So, what do y'all think about the bouquet segment? And just remember who's in charge around here on which team you're going to be on.
Remember who's more fun.
Gosh. All right, friends. So, we do a show on Wednesday nights. I'm sorry, it's just me. 8 o'clock right here, same place, 8 o'clock. Hope to see you there, and then see you back for the battles.